Guns? Well, yeah, I guess I might have a few. Darn it, no one ever buys the T-Rexes.
Continuing on from Nipton, our quest objective takes us west, across an old set of train tracks. I'm always worried that some ghostly locomotive might actually run me over in subsequent playthroughs, so make sure you look both ways before crossing. Further up the road marks the beginnings of a Viper ambush. If you look carefully, one of the landmines has been hidden under a traffic cone. While the mines are deadly, it's really the exploding vehicles you have to look out for, causing bodily harm. The Vipers usually choose to snipe you on a ridge, so it's actually best to just make haste out of the valley. While I managed to escape somewhat intact, I've got a nasty limp from one of the explosions. This is where a small frame ends up being the most noticeable, so we'll take some time to remedy our situation. Up the hill we can see a few structures. Upon closer examination it ends up being a small abandoned farm, Wolfhorn Ranch to be precise. There's a lot of interesting things to be found here. An unmarked grave for starters with the radio playing, as well as some crops and a well. Inside we can find a lockpick magazine and a unique cleaver called the Chopper, as well as some other supplies. I'll throw this in here really quickly for future episodes, that in the Italian, French, and Spanish versions of the game, the name of this location actually translates to Ulysses Camp. On the way out of the farm and across the destroyed bridge, we can find a traveling trading caravan. These groups have been largely scaled back from 3, and thankfully are no longer required to get the largest repair benefit in the game. We'll be pawning off some of our excess scavenging finds, as each trader has about 500 plus caps to each to deal with. Up the road a bit further, we can actually spy a Legion ambush, but as we've yet to declare our standings in New Vegas, they won't actually be hostile to us. They are, however, ready to jump the caravan that we just traded with. Most of the time the caravan ends up winning the skirmish, but the Legion this time manages to get off some explosives, as well as scavenge up some of the caravanners' guns. Even if they do carry spears and machetes, these guys aren't afraid to pick up conventional weapons if the situation demands. Still, the traders end up coming out on top, and we're actually free to loot the remains. It's hard for me not to think of myself as a vulture right now, in all honesty. Under the sign, we find a ghoul, a bright follower. These individuals are always ghouls, and they are always packing energy weapons. They're actually a good source of laser and plasma in early game, if that's your preferred weapon choice. We'll find out more about them later. ED sensors are paying off again, this time showing another group of Vipers. These guys just don't seem to be letting off. This time we're able to get the jump on them, making good use of the service rifle we acquired earlier. He's also doing a considerable amount of damage with the laser as well. It's actually kind of hard to imagine how he got knocked offline in the first place. Remember, if weight is starting to get you down, then repairing weapons with duplicates is a great way to keep some of your scavenging profits in check. Here we can see more of the wasteland wildlife. This bighorn here, a mutated bighorn sheep, is relatively docile compared to a lot of the other animals you actually find out in the wastes. Rounding the train tracks, we'll run into Ranger Station Charlie, an encampment by the NCR with walls made mostly of trailer homes. At the moment, it seems only to be manned by one person, Comm Officer Stepanek.
McCarran doesn't like it when civilians wander into military outposts, so if you're here on business, better make it quick.
Here we can learn more about the Rangers of the NCR.
We're part scout, part commando, part sheriff. The training is brutal, and I'd say 8 out of 10 recruits washes out before the end. Before you get your ranger badge, you gotta prove you can be quieter than a shadow, and more ferocious than a deathclaw. Couple dozen, I'd say. Most of them posted at stations like this one. We either man the station or patrol the immediate area. The Rangers mostly draw from the basic NCR army. A trooper who shows exceptional skill at fighting and scouting can be nominated for the training.
Off in the distance, we'll finally be able to see our destination, Novak. The most immediate landmark in the town is the T-Rex that's holding the giant thermometer. This, of course, is a reference to the real-life Cabazon dinosaur sculptures in California. Never seen them myself, but I do remember them being an integral plot point in Universal's 1989 smash hit The Wizard, starring a young Fred Savage.
California.
Yes, thank you, Jimmy. Ugh. A little bit closer to the town, we can see where the name is actually derived, a deconstructed neon no vacancy sign. Very clever. The town actually has quite a few offerings, including a gas station with lots of scrap, a doctor, and a vendor or two. We'll also run into Victor again, who's managed to make his way here, totally unharmed.
Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit if it ain't my old friend from Good Springs. Don't rightly know. I just got the notion to make my way to New Vegas. Reckon I'll find out when I get there. Novak? Nice enough place, I suppose, but between you and me, when I rolled into town, my skin started to itch. Watch yourself. Likewise, friend, likewise. Is there anything old Vic can do you for? Well, this ain't New Vegas, but I reckon you can find what you need here. Try the office out front. No, don't believe I did. But you might ask around. The Novak folk usually see anyone traveling this way. Be seeing you.
Jenny May inside runs the hotel. Here we can purchase our first domicile.
Well, welcome to you. You look tired from the road. Why don't you relax a spell? Let this fine town take care of you. Oh, what am I doing? I got to thinking about making a good impression and plain forgot to tell you my name. I'm Jeannie May. I take care of folks here at the motel, long as they aren't troublemakers. Well, I think that's a fine idea. I'll give you a good flat rate, and you can stay as long as you like. At least until the busy season comes. Sound good? I'm glad you can stay with us. Your room will be the one upstairs, closest to the lobby side. Here's your key. Let me know if there's anything I can do to make your stay better for you.
Finally, we'll actually have a place to store some extra loot. The lack of housing in the early game is much more noticeable than Fallout 3, but it does make it all the more valuable. Miss Crawford will also give us some info about our surroundings, as well as our next lead to the man we're tracking down.
He's a sight. You probably already saw him when you came in, but you can go up inside, too. Up the road a ways to the west, there's Repcon. That's the old rocket factory. There's been some sinister characters out there lately, so you may want to stay clear. Other than that, nothing to do but take it easy and enjoy good company. Well, up north a ways, you'll see a big tower. That's Helios 1. Used to be a power plant in its day. And there's a town just east of here called Nelson. Used to be such a quaint little place until those slavers took it over. But we got our wonderful snipers keeping an eye in that direction, and so far, the slavers have left us alone. Well, he might have been wearing a fancy outfit, but he wasn't any kind of gentleman to me. Had his nose stuck so high in the air you couldn't see it above the clouds. City folk. They always think they deserve better than what they got. Those hoodlums he was with seem to know Manny for some reason. He's our daytime sniper, up in the Dinosaurs' mouth.
We'll take some time to get settled into our new home. It isn't the Ritz, but still, a roof is a roof, and as far as post-apocalypse standards go, it isn't half bad. The room boasts a few storage containers, as well as a bed that nets us an experience bonus whenever it's used. The fridge, however, always annoys me. Watch the books on the left. Once again, another Gamebryo quirk. Silly accordion books. Now that we've offloaded some of our artillery and clothing, we've got room for even more stuff. Let's head into the T-Rex.
Welcome to the Dino Bite gift shop. My name's Cliff. If you're here for the T-Rex figurines, you're just in time. There's still a few left. Sure thing.
Cliff has a
Have look.
really good selection of weapons, as well as 1,000 toy T-Rexes. His inventory was greatly expanded with the GRA arsenal, including a unique rifle called the Panacea that is way out of our price range, as well as that gun. You know, that gun. Humorously titled, this is a handgun similar to the .223 pistol found in Fallout 1 and 2. It clearly takes its design influence from the iconic sidearm of Rick Deckard in 1982's Blade Runner. While it's not a totally faithful recreation, it's missing the side bolt, for example, it's still pretty close, including a light next to the cylinder. It's very retro sci-fi. Before the Gunrunner's arsenal, this weapon was completely unique and one of a kind. The arsenal introduced a generic black version to the game, which is slightly weaker than this unique variant. This one has a much more weathered look. It's pretty powerful, albeit slow to fire and reload, as well as quite heavy. Since it takes 5.56s, traditionally rifle ammunition, it also has the option of armor-piercing rounds, something you won't find in other pistols without a special perk. It also has the same crit multiplier as Lucky and is classified as a cowboy weapon. All in all, it's a great find. You can purchase it off of Cliff if you like, or you could steal it out of his backroom storage, along with a few rocket souvenirs, which he seems to be drowning in. We'll end up buying a Power Fist as well as a mod off of Cliff and play some Caravan with him afterwards. I've got less to say about the Power Fist other than it being a staple of the Fallout franchise. The kinds found in 3 and onward use a pneumatic ram, as opposed to the classic version that took energy cells. I'm personally a bigger fan of the spiked knuckles myself, as the Power Fist swings a tad too slowly for my taste. Up in the mouth of the T-Rex, we'll speak to Manny Vargas, one of the 2 snipers that guard Novak.
What's going on, man? I'm Manny. I'm on security detail here. You see a rifle barrel sticking out of the dinosaur's mouth, you got a 50-50 shot it's me. Otherwise, it's boom.
We'll learn a bit about the NCR, Bitter Springs.
Oh, it was great. I wouldn't trade it. Something about that lifestyle, the discipline, seeing new places, making people safe. What's not to like? Well, I just felt like it was time, you know? Wanted to have a home. Plus, I was up at Camp Golf when Bitter Springs went down. I faked like I was sick to get out of going because I knew some of the people there. But when everybody came back, nobody would tell me what happened, and people would call us murderers sometimes when we showed up to secure towns. I still don't know exactly. Just that a lot of people died who didn't want to be a part of the fighting at all. I don't blame anybody for it. There's so much chaos when you're fighting. You're lucky not to shoot your own guys. But it did take something out of it for me. Just wasn't the same. So when it came time to re-enlist, I just took my papers and walked.
As well as Boone and his wife.
Boone's a sniper, same as me. Used to spot for him when we were enlisted with the NCR. After we got out, I talked him into settling down here. So here we are. I'd introduce you, but we're not so friendly right now. Me and his wife, we didn't see eye to eye on some things. We had some pretty big arguments. One day, she turns up missing, and he hasn't said a word to me since. Man, you name it. See, I grew up in North Vegas. Me and my cousins, we were some bad seeds. Got in with a gang, I loved it. Then something happened, and I couldn't handle it anymore. So I enlisted, earned my future, brought down my best friend to share that future with me. And here was this woman who was too good for it, trying to take him away. So yeah, I didn't see eye to eye with the bitch.
He's also got info about the checkered suited man, but of course we'll have to do a task for the information.
What do you want with him? You talking about that chip? Man, I don't think he's giving it up. Well, listen, I can definitely help you find him, but I've got problems of my own. Maybe we can do a trade. You need my help. There's something I need too. Novak, it's home for me now. I want that to be for good. I like it here, and I've left too many homes behind. But the only resource we got here is junk. Without that, people wouldn't have anything to trade. They'd all have to leave. We get most of it up the road from the old rocket test site, but a bunch of ghouls showed up one day and took it over. We can't get in there now. I would, but I've got to watch the road. Caesar's Legion has been taking territory just east of here. They took Nelson. If we let our guard down, they might attack. All it takes for the Legion is for them to sense weakness. Well, they gotta go, or this will be a ghost town before long. Doesn't matter to me what you do. As long as the ghouls are out of there, that's good enough for me. It'd mean a lot to me.
Come Fly With Me is a pretty long quest compared to most, but it offers decent experience and loot, so it's kind of hard to pass up. If you know where you're going, it's totally skippable, but will oblige Manny. Before heading out, we'll visit Ranger Andy, another NCR ranger who's taken up residence in the town. He's got a bit of a sad story that's worth a listen.
We haven't met yet. You must be new in town. I'm Andy. Right now, a whole lot of sitting on my keister and counting cracks in the ceiling. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. On better days, I help keep the peace. Boone and Vargas watch the road. I watch the town. Tell myself I'm doing some good. Was with them. That was back when my arm and leg used to work better. I still like to pretend I'm a ranger, though. I'll check in with the guys up at the station pretty regular on the ham radio. Sometimes they stop by, tell me they're paying their respects, the smug bastards. They haven't been responding to me last couple days. I guess they got tired of hearing me talk, but it still got me a little worried. Hell, listen to me talk, like some damn mother hen. A few years back, we get a tip that some Legion slavers were holed up in this burnt-out house a few clicks from where we were stationed. We get there and it's deserted. No sign anyone's been there. I mean, nothing. As we're leaving, I hear something behind me. I turn around and there's this kid, just skin and bone, and he's looking up at us and he's scared half to death. Been hiding in a closet. I go to grab him out of there and I notice he's holding something in his hand. Something metal. He shuts himself back in the closet and that's when I see the grenade he's left by my feet. They do it a lot, the Legion, using kids. They know we'll hesitate. Anyway, that was the first time. Second time, I fell down those stairs in front of the motel, just in case I got to thinking I'd put it all behind me. Huh. People don't exactly line up to find out what's in my head. Can't remember the last time someone suggested I knew something worth knowing. You know, maybe there's something I can do for you. Since you've gone to all the trouble of flattering a crippled old soldier, there's a move we have in the Rangers for knocking an opponent off his feet. Saved my butt a bunch of times, maybe it will for you too. Let me show you how it's done.
For your troubles, you can learn one of New Vegas's modified melee moves, the Ranger Takedown. By holding down back on the stick and heavy meleeing, you're able to incapacitate enemies for a short while. This translates into making them ragdoll. Now, it is insanely useful for purely unarmed builds, letting you trip up baddies as big as Deathclaws. Oddly enough, it looks like a palming motion in first person, but it's a sweep kick in third. We'll start heading west into the hills for the sniper's task. Along the way, we'll find a corpse of a glowing one, an extremely irradiated feral ghoul, foreshadowing some of the upcoming opposition. In fact, a little ways further is a live feral ghoul who gets to make friends with our new gauntlet. The entrance into Repcon is very reminiscent of a military base, with a checkpoint marking the entrance. Around the checkpoint, we can find a pile of ash with a rebar club, as well as remnants of the salvaging operation that Manny Vargas mentioned. If all this gear was just left lying around, then there's definitely trouble up ahead. It's starting to get dark as we make our way to the main promenade of the RepCon facility, and it just so happens we'll be running into quite a few more ghouls. Why we gain karma for taking out feral ghouls, I'm not quite sure. The outside of the building is in quite a state of disrepair. If we look around, we can actually find more of these bright follower ghouls and ash piles, early hints about what's going on inside. As night falls, we'll actually make our way into the facility.